of various aspects of the internet that people can check out and take home.
Does it cost anything to take the course?
No, our courses are free.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Can you tell me a little bit about the type of people that are using the internet and what are they using it for and looking at on there?
We have a huge variety of people using the internet. There are students of all kinds, high school students using it for their high school courses, but also a lot of adult students, whether they're working on a college course or whether they're working on graduate level courses, come in and use it. We have a lot of people come in checking their investments on the internet. You can get up-to-date charts and materials there on the internet. A lot of people checking travel information, young kids checking up on their sports teams or their favorite rock groups. Then we also, of course, have the staff using it for reference information. We look for everything from an Amtrak schedule in the New York-Washington corridor to a recipe. We have great fun and, of course, a lot of legislative information. And what we're working on now with the Village of Wilmette and the Wilmette Park District is a community page where people will be able to access either with the internet or if they're willing to forego the pictures, they can just dial in with their modem and get a community information page. We hope that ultimately that will have the minutes from the assorted board meetings and schedules. So we're working hard to coordinate that, but that's a lot of work.
That's right. It sounds like it would be. Now, if I get something up on the internet, can I print it out like this? You mentioned this Amtrak schedule or about a book or some type of research project. Can I print it out at the library on the printer?
Most materials you can print out, and the cost is $0.10 a page as if you were photocopying it. We have laser printers connected to the workstations. The things that we aren't hooked up for at this point because our connection is slower and we just have to get the budget to grow are, huge pictures or video or sound clips or things. But you can print out the individual pages. So yes, if you need those schedules or you want information about a town that you're visiting, those things will print out on pages for you, even black and white pictures.
Okay, so you've got all different types of people coming in there and testing it out and learning about it.
Yes.
And we're, in terms of one of the concerns that's been mentioned is, if I have my children in the library or going to access the internet, can I control what they see on the internet in the library, or is that a problem? Do you see it?
It hasn't been a problem. You can. We do not have any limits in the library because our overall policy has been not to place limits. We encourage and expect the parents to be with their children when they use the internet. Frankly, it's out in an open public room, and I think it's not the kind of thing you can run into a corner with and giggle with your friends. So we really haven't had a problem. People have been, in fact, it's a small community in that room that help each other out and use it. If, however, a parent is interested in controlling access in their home, we can help them find reviews and things. There are several different kinds of software that people can use at home to control the internet access.
I see. So how long have you personally been, when was the first time that you went on the internet like this?
It was probably about 3 years ago. I had heard of the internet and I went to a conference in Chicago and frankly was unimpressed. I understood the concept that there was lots of information available, but at that time, only 3 years ago, most of the information was in text format only.
Oh, and hold that point. We've got to take a break right now. We'll be back in a couple minutes.
The world of tomorrow looks the same as today, but it's deceptive. In tomorrow's world, the speed at which all human knowledge doubles will be counted in days instead of months or years. The advances in transportation, communication, and science are unimaginable. In such a world, change is the only constant. To prepare for such an environment, you must stay in school. school. And after you graduate, the Air Force offers you powerful tools, education and training, plus the experience you'll need to shape the challenges of the future without being deceived by the illusions of the past. In the Air Force, you'll hold your tomorrow in the palm of your hand. Aim high, Air Force.
It's a shame what drug use on the job did to this guy. How it affected his career, shook up his family, and left him jobless. Of course, the real tragedy is this guy's never taken a drug in his life. When businesses get hurt by drug abuse, everyone takes the hit. Call and find out about our drug-free workplace program.
Doers, people who do something with their lives. They're hidden in small towns, thriving in big cities. Some have the most stuff, some have the least. They're born into sturdy houses and single-parent homes. Doers know no gender, and the only race that counts is the one that's being run. Doing something with your life, it's not about where you come from. It's about where you're headed.
The Navy encourages you to rise to the challenge.
Welcome back to Lights, Camera, Access and our exciting show on the Internet. Our guest with us at this time is Ellen Clark, Head of Adult Services at the Wilmette Library. And Ellen, we left off with your experience about the first time you got on the Internet. And can you tell us a little bit more about it and how you've seen it change over the years?
Sure. As I mentioned, my first experience on the Internet was somewhat unimpressive in that it was text-based, very small print, and difficult to move around from subject to subject. And there was very little organization of all the material available on the Internet. Since that time, in 3 short years, I have seen the Internet develop to screens that have colored pictures. Some of the pictures move. It's possible to get sound on the Internet. People do not need extensive computer training. They don't need to know the Unix command language. They can simply
Well, I'm
point
glad I
and
don't
click.
have to know that.
So it really is easy now for everyone to use. There are a few far-off points that need help, and unfortunately one of those is getting into library catalogs. We anticipate as we see more people trying to do that. That's still on an old format and requires people knowing the commands of how to get off of it. But other than that, it's become incredibly easy and incredibly fun to use. It's like eating a bag of potato chips, you know, you can't eat just one.
So in other words, if I go to the library, I should still use the card catalog if I want to look up material and not rely on the Internet?
Well, or our computerized catalog. But if you want material in the building, yes. The Internet is not owned by the library. The library has no control over the Internet. Which brings up one of our concerns, and that is the authenticity of what people find on the Internet. Very often they will get to a piece of information that's, say, a CIA World Factbook, and the full text is there, and they jump on it, and they get their page on their country of, England for their report, but they don't notice that it's a 1991 World Factbook, where if they went upstairs to the reference room, we have the 1995. So there's some problem with verifying the information on the Internet. And in a more sinister side, there are occasions when people alter the information on the Internet. I gave a class one night on an election night, and I had prepared for the class, and I had looked up all of my sites before that night, because the sites do change. And I had looked up Mr. Dole's homepage, and everything looked fine. That night I went in and I opened up his homepage, and it had changed, but that's not different, and I talked my way through it. But I got down into a paragraph that talked about wingies that have run against Mr. Dole in the past, and I suddenly realized that something had happened on this homepage. And it was a great learning experience for everyone, and it was just a great illustration of how insecure that information is. So I see that the librarians and other people who do information work, our job now is to become educators. We really need to encourage people to access this information, but to be careful and to use it's a, buyer beware situation. You have to use your head, you have to use your judgment.
Now, going back a little bit to the classes, are they offered every month, or is there one coming up, this month, or is there a schedule published anywhere?
The schedule is generally published in Off the Shelf. We do try to offer it once a month at night, and we do try to vary the night so that if you're always, for instance, I always work on Monday night, so if you do too, then you're going to want a class on a different night. This month, in June, we have a class coming up on the 27th, this coming week, which is a Thursday night. That will be the general introduction to the Internet. Next month, probably late in the month, I don't remember the exact date, we will have our Netscape class, and we tend to alternate them. And we do try to offer one a month. We may move that up. I have had some requests to offer a 102 for the Netscape searching on some of the finer points.
So it's a one-class session.
One class session at this point. Really, the Internet is an end-user product. By that I mean you're going to use it very, very differently than I would use it, and very differently than anybody else would use it. I need to get you started to teach you the basics, but then you need to go in, learn a little bit, and then come back to me with questions. Meantime, every time someone asks me a question, I learn something new because it truly changes every day.
Are there any statistics on how many people use the Internet at all?
I should have looked this up. There are, I'm sure. There are millions of people and millions of new users every day. I think America Online, itself has many millions of users, and you multiply that. The number is just growing exponentially because it's getting easier and easier to look at.
Tell me about some of the more interesting things that people have looked up on the Internet. I mean, has there been topics that you couldn't believe that there were information on?
Well, like I said, I was surprised when I had to find the Amtrak schedule. That was a real question. And I went in, and sure enough, it was there. We have had to find a specific recipe, which of course we found multiple versions of, for a type of cookie that someone needed for a party. People have looked for information on diseases. That's been a very big use of the Internet, is medical information. It's also one of the areas that people are very concerned about. Right. Because talk about problems if it's not verifiable.
Take a cure from the Internet may not be the right cure.
Right. So people are, but people do look up very specific things, and it's always amazing because there's a discussion group or a page or something that has to do with that, and it's amazing to me that it's there. But and then the kids looking up their rock bands is kind of fun because they get a little frustrated because that's often very heavy picture, graphic oriented, and that takes longer for it to come down.
Ellen, let me save the best question for last and the hardest one. What do you see about the future regarding the Internet? Where do you think it's going? Do you have any feelings in that area?
That is a hard one. The technology is changing tremendously fast. The versions of Netscape or the Microsoft Explorer change practically monthly. I would think, though, we're pulling away, I think, to a point where there's a real high-tech Internet access that's fun and games, but a lot of games. Then there's going to be that basic Internet access that's going to be informational, and I think that's going to become much like your television set or your telephone. In fact, a lot of it will probably come through the television set. The cable companies are dying to get into this. But commercialization will also enter, and Wall Street Journal has been free on the Internet. They've just announced that as of August 31st, you will be charged. You will ask to give them a credit card number. New York Times, you can search it, but if you want the actual article, it's $1.50. So that commercialization is going to alter things, and it's going to change us.
Well, and thank you very much for being with us tonight, and maybe I'll sign up for one of your classes on the Internet, and you can teach me a little bit, learn a little bit myself. We'll be back after this short break.
How long did the seizure last? Off and on for about 5 minutes. Any history of convulsions before? No.
How old's the
Did the
baby?
child crawl? No.
Has she been sick? No.
I need a stat CT scan. Mom, is there any chance that the child may have been shaken?
To compete, you've got to be strong. To win, you've got to be smart. Maybe you can be one of us, the few, the proud, the Marines.
It's never too early to start taking care of yourself. Don't smoke, don't lose your heart-to-heart disease. Call us for more information.
Welcome back to Lights, Camera, Access and our exciting show on the Internet. Our next guest is Chris Farrell, a successful businessman who's contemplating using the Internet in his business. Chris, thanks a lot for being with us this evening.
My pleasure, Bob.
Hey, how about those Bulls?
Oh, you know, they really did well this year. I don't know that they're the greatest team ever, but I do know they have the greatest player ever, that's for sure.
That's great, that's great. Chris, can you give us a little definition about what is the Internet?
Sure. The Internet is really a culmination or a conglomeration of websites on file servers throughout the world. File servers being computers that store a lot of information that are accessible via the Internet, via phone line. Companies or people can access these file servers with merely a PC, a modem, and a phone line. They have to access it through either an access provider or a service provider. An access provider is a company that will provide access, will contract with a person or a company to provide access to the World Wide Web for a fee per month. A content provider does the same thing, but it provides content in addition to access to the World Wide Web.
Interesting. You know, there's a lot of terminology that's bandied about. Can you tell me what a browser is?
Sure. A browser is a software that enables and enhances the viewability of the World Wide Web. There's very good browsers out there. There's one or two that are really a cut above the rest. The browser will enhance the viewability and accessibility and speed the availability of accessing different websites throughout the world.
I see. Now, what about the term website and web page and home page?
Okay, a website or home page is basically a creation of or a representation of somebody's home page or information that they want to put on the World Wide Web. A website for a company, for instance, would be information on that particular company that they would want other people to view, either to sell their product or hear their service or hear their pitch or see their pictures or whatever they want to present, they would present on their homepage.
I see. Now, what about conducting business on the Internet? Is it okay to put my credit card number out over the web right now if I want to buy a particular item?
No, that's a little difficult right now. They really haven't perfected the whole issue of safeguarding information that's transacted on the web. Your credit card number really, right now, becomes public information if you give it on the web. They haven't come up with the encryption software necessary to ensure its safeguardability.
I see.
Once that's done, boy, the World Wide Web will take off in terms of conducting business, purchasing goods and services, and so forth.
Well, let's say I'm a small businessman and I've got a good idea for a new product, and how do I go about using the internet, and what would be the cost for me to get involved with it?
Well, the cost to put a web page on the internet can be, there's a really wide range of costs. It depends on how much information you want to put on the web. For a small businessman who wants 1 or 2 pages on the web, it's really inexpensive. You can get by with $500 to $1,000 to pay a consultant to put your web page on the web. If you're a big corporation and want to put multi-pages of information, it could run quite a bit of money. There's a lot of consultants out there that are doing this right now. As you may expect, it's become big business to provide services to put your company on the web. There's a lot of people out there that are doing it. It's really growing.
So in terms of cost, it could be, $500 or $1,000.
Well, it could range from $500 to $50,000 for a large Fortune 500 company to put all the information that they would want to put on the web.
Mm-hmm. Now let's talk a little bit about once as a small businessman, I would have my website or my page that I create. Are my products or services now, or my page being viewed by the whole world?
If you can get your website on the internet and register it with the proper search engines. Let me step back and tell you what a search engine is.
Do I have to go with GM or something like that?
No. A search engine is an intelligent informational or relational database that basically operates by a user typing in a keyword or some sort of information that they're looking for, a product, a company name, whatever. And what the search engine will do, it'll search the World Wide Web for different websites that would be appropriate for that particular keyword. And it'll list them in ascending order as to which would be the most applicable. So if you can get your website name on the appropriate search engines and have that particular applicability, you're going to get hit upon, which is another term. Your site gets hit upon or accessed very frequently. And conceivably, the world is your oyster. I mean, anybody in the world can view your website if properly maintained.
So if I have a web page, I want to get it with a search engine or register with a search engine. How many search engines are there out there?
It seems like they add new ones every day. There's 5 or 6 very, very good ones that have been around a while, but new ones come out every day. Each one has a little bit different influence or applicability. The real good, what you really want to do is get your name on the top ones so that people who have the search engines accessed by the content providers and the access providers can find your website very easily and efficiently.
Now, do your kids go on the internet at all?
Yeah, they do. I'm a little worried about that, but particularly with the content providers, they provide a lot of kids-only type information that I feel comfortable letting them view. There's quite a bit of cartoon-related stuff and games and educational things that I think are real appropriate for my kids. On the other hand, there's a lot of information out there that I would prefer them not to see, and thus far it hasn't been a problem, but it does worry me a little bit.
I see. Chris, let's talk about the future. Where do you see this thing going in the future in terms of the internet?
Well, with regard to business, I think if a business is not on the web right now or not considering putting themselves on the World Wide Web, they're going to get lost in the dust. In the next few years, once they perfect the safeguarding of the credit card information and the security issues revolving doing commerce on the web, this thing's going to take off, and it's really going to take off exponentially, I think.
Now, just in kind of summarizing a little bit, I need a computer, a modem, and a phone line. I get on the web. I can put my business idea out over the world. And any idea as to how many people are utilizing the internet right now?
I don't know the statistics exactly, but it's really growing exponentially. Millions of people get on every day. There is some statistics that I do know that people are tending to spend less time watching television and spend less time sleeping while surfing the net. That seems to be the consensus.
I see. How long have you been involved with the internet? You've been looking at it?
I signed up on a content provider about a year ago, and I've become addicted. I spend anywhere between 10 and 25 hours a month on the web. Not only finding out information just to find out, but also to find out what competitors are doing and what other businesses are doing on the web in terms of what types of products are being sold, and how they're selling them. That's really the key.
I see. So in terms of the growth in the future, you think that there's pretty much unlimited potential there?
Unbelievable. I think it's really going to take off, particularly once the issues regarding safeguarding of information get
How far away on that security issue? How far away do you think they are in terms of?
There's varying reports on that, anywhere from 6 months to 2 years. I think it'll probably end up being closer to 6 months.
I see. I think that, Chris, you pointed out a lot of interesting things, and I appreciate you being on our show tonight, and I look forward to having you on another session.
My pleasure, Bob. Thanks.
Great. Audience, I hope you've enjoyed our show on the Internet, and my thanks to all our production staff and crew this evening. We've enjoyed bringing this show, and we look forward to doing another show on the Internet.
The establishment of this public access channel and the public access